I'm not a lawyer, but I was reading through some cases, don't ask me why, and I came across one that I have to tell you about. It has to do with how this selfie, yes, the monkey took a selfie, caused this man to be sued. It's a short one, but here we go. So this is Naruto, and he lives in a rainforest in Indonesia. And this is David Slater. He's a photographer, and in 2011, he went to go visit that rainforest that Naruto lives in. While he's there, he sets his camera down, and Naruto picks it up and takes some pictures. A couple years after this trip, David Slater decides to publish a book, and he includes Naruto's selfies in that book. And then PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, they come around and sue David and the book publishing company on behalf of Naruto for copyright infringement. Yes. PETA's argument is basically that since Naruto purposefully and voluntarily took those pictures, he's technically the copyright owner. And since Slater used those pictures in his book and made money, Slater now owes Naruto damages, aka some money. Specifically, PETA says in the lawsuit that in violation of Naruto's copyright, the defendants displayed, advertised, reproduced, distributed, offered for sale, and sold copies of Naruto's selfie. And if a human had taken those pictures, they would be considered the copyright owner. So what's the difference just because it's a monkey? I think there's a difference, but I'm not a lawyer. PETA goes on to say that they themselves don't want any of the money. They want any proceeds that Naruto would get to be used for the benefit of him, his family, and his community. And then David Slater and the book publishing company respond to this lawsuit, and they say the whole thing should be dismissed. They have a number of reasons that they say it should be dismissed, but I'm just going to highlight a few. One of which is that they argue the courts have repeatedly found that copyright protections are only for human beings, not animals. And they also say that for a civil lawsuit to be valid, there has to be a plaintiff that has actually or concretely been injured. Not hypothetically, but actually. And so by filing a civil lawsuit, the goal, if the plaintiff should win, is that the plaintiff is made whole or their injury satisfied by being awarded money. The problem with this case, according to David Slater and the publishing company, is that the alleged injury here doesn't even make sense, because the main benefit of being a copyright owner is that you get to have a say or ultimately control where and how your copyrights are distributed and sold. But for this case, if Naruto, as the copyright owner, was invited to the table to participate in and determine where his selfies were distributed and sold to, well, they wouldn't really get very far. Slater and the publishing company also argued that if, as a form of relief, the judge says the books cannot be sold anymore, they say, is that actually relief for Naruto? Does he even know that the books are being sold? So if you stop them from being sold, is he now happier, or does he not know? So those were the arguments, and ultimately the two sides come to a settlement. David Slater agrees that 25% of future revenue from those photos would go to groups that protect the breed of monkeys that Naruto is from and their habitat in Indonesia. So that's how this one is resolved, but I'm curious what y'all think about this one. Are y'all out there taking pictures of your animals and then trying to sell them? Don't get sued by PETA.